Well, guys, I did not think this review was going to be as long as it is, but here we are, so let's just dive right into it. This is my review of Battlefield 6 for PS5. So let's just talk a little bit about the game first. Battlefield 6 is the ultimate all-out warfare experience. In a war of tanks, fighter jets, and massive combat arsenals, your squad is the deadliest weapon. So yeah, that's the premise of the game. And this is a first-person shooter game developed by Battlefield Studios and published by Electronic Arts, or EA. So a side note, EA announced Battlefield Studios on February 3rd, 2025, uniting 4 of its studios, DICE, Ripple Effect, Motive, and Criterion, under a single banner to develop and support the Battlefield franchise collaboratively. You know what? This is probably because of the significant staff turnover at DICE after Battlefield 2042's troubled 2021 launch. Because an ex-developer noted in January 2025 that 98% of the people who worked on previous Battlefield titles left EA, and that the studio imploded. So they just took what's left of DICE and those other studios and just crammed them together and called them Battlefield Studios to work on this game. And of course, Battlefield 6 runs on the Frostbite engine. And this game engine was originally built specifically for the Battlefield franchise, so we should expect to see it at its best here, because Frostbite was developed by DICE and first used in 2008's Battlefield Bad Company. And EA now uses this game engine in almost all of their games, including sports titles, and we all know how great that's been. I think it's time to put the Frostbite engine to rest. It's had its run, but it needs to go away now. And this game features a campaign mode, a variety of multiplayer modes, and the Portal mode, as they call it. The single-player campaign is set between 2027 and 2028 and features a conflict between a fractured NATO and the Pax Armada, a private military company. You know, it's your standard Battlefield or Call of Duty campaign. You know, it's a bland story meant to be more of a tutorial mode than anything. The problem is, you don't even get to fly the jets or get to the chopper at all in this campaign. And I was like, I'm here, do it now, I'm here, give me a chopper. And the game said there was just no way. So I said, come on, don't bullshit me. It's Battlefield, you idiots. So yeah, no planes or choppers in the campaign, unfortunately. But then you have a plethora of different base multiplayer modes to choose from, and they're divided into 3 categories. You have all-out warfare, which is large-scale battles with vehicles and objectives. In all-out warfare, you can play Conquest, Breakthrough, Escalation, and Rush. And just to go through a few of these, Conquest is a 32v32 where teams capture and hold multiple flags across the map to deplete the enemy's ticket count. Breakthrough is 24v24, where attackers capture sectors sequentially by holding all points in a sector at once, gaining tickets per success. Escalation is a 32v32 with a twist on Conquest. What a twist! Teams capture shrinking objectives to fill a progress bar and score points. Vehicle unlocks escalate per point scored, intensifying the battle. And the first to 3 wins. And Rush is 12v12 or 16v16, where attackers plant explosives on paired MCOM stations across sectors to advance, and defenders disarm them. Pretty self-explanatory. And then you have your close quarters battle modes, which are infantry focused and smaller maps. And these modes include Domination, King of the Hill, Team Deathmatch, and Squad Deathmatch. And Domination is 8v8 or 16v16, where teams capture 3 flags for points. First to 200 points wins. King of the Hill is 8v8, where a single moving capture point awards 1 point per second to the controlling team uncontested, and the first to 250 points wins. Team Deathmatch is 8v8 and is pure team elimination. First team to 100 kills wins. And Squad Deathmatch is 4 squads of 4, where it's a free-for-all between the 4 squads. First squad to 50 kills wins. And then to top it off, you have the Portal mode, which is a massive sandbox for creating and playing custom modes with editable rules, maps, and NPC scripting. So that means the Portal feature returns in Battlefield 6 with a complete overhaul from its Battlefield 2042 iteration. Because in 2042, Portal was limited to a basic visual block editor and web-based configuration options, but Battlefield 6's Portal is powered by the Godot engine, providing map creation and game logic tools that represent a significant advancement over the previous system. And the new editor enables creators to build custom game modes, design original maps using Battlefield 6's existing map foundations and assets, and script complex gameplay mechanics. The Portal experiences can then be shared through a dedicated community browser where players can discover and play user-generated content. And to me, I think the Battlefield Portal is the best part of the game. This is similar to the Forge mode in Halo, and all the different experiences that spawned from it. You can have similar fun with this mode, especially with friends. The Portal mode is the best reason I would give to actually buy this game, because you can play something different every single time. But you know what? Besides these different modes, there's nothing else to really do in this game, besides going to the training grounds and shooting your gun. So it gives off the impression that there's all these different things to do in the game, but besides the Portal mode, the game is actually very bare bones under the surface. And there's also a free-to-play Battle Royale mode that just came out called Battlefield RedSec, which will feature the traditional Battle Royale mode, as well as the new knockout elimination mode called the Gauntlet. You know what, this game mode didn't work the first time around in 2042, and I don't think it's going to work here either. I could be wrong though, only time will tell. So in multiplayer, you have 4 different classes that you can choose from. You got Assault, Engineer, Support, and Recon. The Assault class is proficient with assault rifles and grenade launchers and favors a run and gun playstyle with faster health regeneration. The Engineer class uses submachine guns, can repair friendly vehicles, and specializes in destroying hostile vehicles with rockets. The Support class excels with light machine guns and supports teammates by resupplying ammo, placing makeshift cover, and healing and reviving allies. And the Recon class can carry out battlefield reconnaissance, uses sniper rifles, and is ideal for long-range engagements as a headshot kill prevents opponents from being revived. So while any class can use any weapon, each class has unique gameplay perks when using specific weapons. For example, Recon players can hold their breath while aiming with the sniper rifle, and weapons can be extensively customized with mods, but each weapon has a designated attachment point limit that cannot be exceeded. So let's move on to the good aspects of the gameplay. Battlefield 6 introduces several quality of life improvements, including a new movement system called the Kinesthetic Combat System, which allows players to lean around cover, hitchhike onto vehicles, and drag fallen soldiers to safety before reviving them. And I usually play support or medic in games like this, so I really enjoyed being able to pop smoke and drag my fallen comrades out of the danger zone while reviving them. It's a small addition, but dragging downed allies away to safety went a long way for me. And being able to peek over or around cover smoothly was a really good addition here as well. You just aim when crouched behind cover or at a corner to peek around or above, and it still protects most of your body. And of course, you're still able to mount your gun on corners as well, so utilizing all of this together really helped us shoot farther and more accurately, as well as keeping my ass alive. And as with previous entries in the series, the game still emphasizes environmental destructibility. I mean, the buildings can be demolished with explosives, and obstacles or floors can be destroyed to create new paths. So you can carry a sledgehammer and just bust a hole in a wall and go to the next room. It reminded me a little bit of Rainbow Six Siege, how I could just bust through a wall with a sledge or a breaching charge and mow down a squad on the other side. Because you guys know, anytime there's destructible environments, I'm all about it. More games should have destructible environments. That's where the innovation in gaming really needs to be. Innovating the interactivity of the environments, including being fully destructible. So there are 45 different guns between the classes at launch, with more to come after each season. So at launch we have 8 assault rifles, 7 carbines, 8 machine guns, 8 light machine guns, 4 DMRs, 4 pistols, 3 sniper rifles, 3 shotguns, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. You know? And at launch, 9 maps are available, with additional maps planned for release through post-launch updates. And to be honest, I wasn't that big of a fan of these particular maps in this game, but having at least 9 at launch with more to come is at least acceptable to me. Alright, so let's move on to the bad aspects of the gameplay. The gunplay in this game isn't very good. The slowdown on the aim assist will drive you insane if you're playing on console. It cuts your aiming speed in half as you aim at somebody, and God forbid if there's multiple enemies in your scope. It moves so slow you can't switch targets. Then all of a sudden, it's going to speed back up to normal speed. This drove me insane at first, but luckily you're able to change the aim assist slowdown strength in the settings. But it still takes a while to dial in the controls to get it to your liking, but once I found the sweet spot though, it was smooth sailing. So that was just a personal gripe of mine in the beginning of the game. It took me a while to dial that in, because it was driving me fucking insane. Another thing that drove me insane in this game, the time to kill is absolutely atrocious, particularly early on without your weapon unlocks. Most of the guns feel like pea shooters, especially when you don't have any attachments yet. So that means you'll continuously get 5+ hit markers on an enemy, only for them to run around a corner or possibly just turn around and shoot you once or twice and you're dead. And some of this could also be a netcode issue as well, but I think this game is possibly the worst I've ever played when it comes to shoot first, die first. It is absolutely amazing the amount of times you will get 5+ hit markers on an enemy, only for them to turn around and kill you. And it's one thing if you just miss your shots and get no hit markers, but when the hits are registering, but the enemy is like the Terminator out here, it becomes a buzzkill fast. Because you're technically winning the engagements, but you keep losing. It's hard to put into words just how frustrating this experience is, because frustrating isn't a goddamn word for it! This is bullshit! Yeah man, it's like shoot first, die first on steroids, boys. And also, the progression system in this game takes forever to unlock anything. So around level 20 is when you finally start unlocking some decent attachments and skins, but it only slows down from there. So you better stock up on double XP tokens or you're going to be there for a while. And this also means your first few hours in the game, you're going to be cannon fodder for the people with all of their vehicle unlocks and attachments. Which means your guns take twice as long to kill as theirs because they have full loadouts and you have a pea shooter. So you get the full shoot first, die first experience right out of the gate. But by the time you unlock attachments, you're so burned out from winning the gun battles but losing the wars that you just want to go play something else that respects your time and effort. Because it's also a video game, so you play to have fun, not be cannon fodder for others just because they have better weapons than you. When you have these progression systems, you actually ruin your own game, in my opinion. Because what happens is, when the game launches, everyone's equal. Then the first wave of people get everything unlocked. Then new players come later trying to get into the game, and the first thing they experience is shoot first, die first cannon fodder. They nope the fuck out and never to return. Then as time goes on, the original community slowly falls off until nobody really plays it anymore. And that will happen to this game, just as it did with 2042. And also, none of the guns felt good to use for me. Because besides most of the guns not being able to actually kill anybody efficiently, they also didn't give off the feel of real guns per se. The bullet tracking in this game is just terrible to the point where the bullet drop and bullet spreads were very inconsistent, especially with the light machine guns. So if you shot more than 3 rounds at a time, even while mounted with a light machine gun, you just wouldn't get hit markers. Didn't matter how close or far away they were, they could be right in your face. You're not getting hit markers. I have no idea why this was for me, but after about 3 shots, you just wouldn't get hits while you were looking down your sights. So because of that, you were better off hip firing at that point, because for some reason, it was more accurate up to a certain range. And this could have something to do with the different stats of the guns and my attachments at the time, but this just goes along with why I hate these progression systems in FPS games. It's a gun, and guns are meant to kill people. So if I'm using 7.62 ammo, and I shoot you 5 times with any gun, you're gonna be dead, or at least fucked up. But in this game, they just tank the shots like Terminators and keep it moving. And the difference in time to kill between the different weapons is asinine, and is a big reason why stats on guns in a milsim game just shouldn't exist in my opinion. And you know, we gotta mention this, but of course, like with most battlefields, everyone is sitting back with the sniper rifle or in a vehicle unless you play the closed weapon variant of the game mode, where they force people to use only the kit-specific weapons. Because if you don't play that mode, then you'll be one of 3 guys on the objective, while the rest of the lobby on both teams sits back on a cliffside trying to get sniper kills on the 3 guys from both teams that are actually playing the objective. And this has been a problem in Battlefield for ages now, but at least we have the closed weapon game mode in order to get the true Battlefield experience. Because that mode makes it so support has to use light machine guns, engineer has to use SMGs, assault has to use assault rifles, and recon has to use sniper rifles. And because of that, this mode offers up some really good infantry skirmishes in conflict and escalation, so I recommend trying this out. And also, the destructible environments just look like shit most of the time. So although the environments are fairly destructible, it comes off like it's in sections and not organic. I'll try to explain what I mean. When you smash a wall in Battlefield 6 with your sledgehammer, let's say, the wall breaks in such a way as that one piece was a 5x10 asset of a wall, and you triggered that set piece to break. So the whole wall broke. And they all break that same way every time you hit one of them with the sledgehammer. It feels more like a set animation happening than actual damage that you did to the wall or building. So because of this, you have weird instances where you'll try to drive through a building with a tank and the walls smash, but because the game didn't have an animation for the second floor above you to fall from hitting it at the angle that you did, it just stops you dead in your tracks, and you can't break it until other things are broken around it. And to me, this type of destructible environment is completely opposite of what we had in, say, Battlefield 3, which is from 2011, by the way. Because in Battlefield 3, me and a buddy would roll around in a tank, and if people were holed up in a house, we'd just come in like a wrecking ball right through the wall and demolish everything from the walls to the floor upstairs to the staircase. I'm talking we would floor it through one side of the building, run over 2 people inside, drive through 3 rooms, and bust out the wall on the other side of the building. You don't have that level of destruction in Battlefield 6 as far as I can tell. Things still break down, but not organically, and when buildings actually do fall down, they don't look very good, and you sometimes don't even die. I had numerous buildings fall over on top of me, only for me to not even get hurt and just walk away. You always died in Battlefield 3 if a building fell on top of you, and it looked badass when it happened. And I'll say that I wasn't a big fan of the maps. All of the maps seemed pretty small, and I just didn't like the layout of most of them. But that was just my takeaway from playing this game. There's barely any vehicle action going on in most of the maps. Maybe 2 maps where you have good air combat. But unless you're playing community creations in the Portal, you won't have much going on in the air. And because the maps are small, objectives often become meat grinders for the tanks to clean up. You'll often have 4 tanks just surrounding an objective, mowing down anything that moves, while your team uses your tanks as transport vehicles to get to a point, just to jump out and give the enemy your tank. It's a good time. And let me talk a little bit about crossplay, because crossplay on multiplayer becomes a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario when playing on console. Because when I had crossplay disabled, most of my matches were half human, half bots. I consistently had trouble finding full lobbies to play in across all modes when crossplay was disabled. And this actually wasn't a bad thing in the beginning, as having some bots to kill is nice when you're trying to figure out the game and unlock some of your attachments. But on the contrary, when I had crossplay enabled, most of my matches were full lobbies, except it would be me and 8 other console players and the rest PC players. And as a console player, I hate having to play with PC players, as that's where most of the cheating comes from. And I noticed a difference in gameplay when crossplay was enabled, as I was getting sniped much more often and the vehicles were on point, literally and figuratively. I'm not saying that it's due to cheating, just that it's much more prevalent. I mean, those PC boys do know how to run the vehicles and blow wigs back. But this could also be due to the fact that the games are mostly full lobbies with crossplay enabled. Either way, it was a noticeable difference in gameplay experience. And for me, the campaign mode was boring and lackluster, but that's not surprising. I don't think anybody goes into a Battlefield game expecting the campaign to be great, or even good, but I just had to point it out. The premise of the story isn't that bad, honestly, but the characters and the plot fall flat on their face quickly. I mean, this mode is mainly meant to be a tutorial mode for players to get used to the mechanics of the game, but even the gameplay and levels were boring and bland. It's just your typical on-rails shooter, except in Battlefield, you'd expect to use all of the vehicles more often, but not in this one. You get to drive a vehicle once or twice, and you never, ever get a chopper or a jet once in the game. I was really disappointed in not being able to fly anything during the campaign, honestly. I needed some practice with that shit. So to summarize the gameplay, the overall gameplay in this game feels very similar to Battlefield 2042. They cleaned up peeking around corners or above cover and added a few new features like dragging down allies out of danger while reviving them, but it still feels just as soulless and bland as Battlefield 2042 did. This game made me truly realize that this franchise and Call of Duty are for the lowest tier casual gamers at this point. And the cheaters, of course. Can't forget about the cheaters. Playing Battlefield 6 just made me want to go play Squad or Hell Let Loose because they both do a better job at being Battlefield than Battlefield does at this point. It's like Battlefield 6 is the Ukraine war tier, and Squad or Hell Let Loose are World War I and II tier. Because if you like getting off the tank, taking 5 steps and getting your legs blown off by a drone over and over again, then play Battlefield 6. If you want a real war experience with the boys, then go play Squad or Hell Let Loose, and make sure you use your mic. Alright, moving on to the good aspects of the visuals. There's moments where the destructible environments do look really good. Although these moments are fleeting, they do happen from time to time where you watch a building collapse while everything's exploding around you, and for a moment, the atmosphere of war is captured perfectly. And certain guns and vehicles can look very photorealistic at times, which is a nice touch and obviously helps to add to the realism. Okay, let's move on to the bad aspects of the visuals. The graphics overall are a hit or miss, with most things having this shiny plastic look to it in typical Frostbite fashion. There are moments, especially during the campaign cutscenes, where things look really good, but most of the time, everything has this uncanny fake feeling to it. It's the same exact feeling I got when I reviewed College Football 26 and Madden 26 this year. Something is just off, and your brain notices it, and it just has this plastic, soulless feel to it. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's not a good thing. And I had a few times where the graphics started going absolutely crazy, and the textures were popping in and out while the sky was flashing different colors. It was very odd when it happened, but luckily it only happened a few times. But it's very jarring when it does happen, and it can sometimes intrude on playing as you can't see certain things due to texture pop-ins. And the different skin designs for your guns and characters are really bad. I don't know who designs these skins, but they are not very creative. These are some of the blandest skins with different colors of the same variants, and very similar to the ones you had before most of the time. It was like this in Madden as well, where they try to peddle $5 skins that look like a third grader threw paint on a shirt and called it a day. It's ridiculous, and we deserve better and more skin variants for our guns and player models. Alright, so to summarize the visuals, the Frostbite engine has been going strong for 17 years now, but I think it's time to retire this old girl. She's seen better days. We see this in all of EA's games these days since they insist on using the Frostbite engine for all of their games. From the plastic shine on their assets, to the robotic movements, to the terrible piece-by-piece destructible environments, I'd say this engine's cooked, boys. Because it looks pretty much exactly like 2042, which also looked plastic and fake as well. So moving on to the good aspects of the sound. The sounds of war were decently done here, with gunshots and explosions working together to create that classic Battlefield experience we all know and love. The different screams of the soldiers when they're deep in the shit getting shot at really went a long way here too. And you hear your buddy's blood-curdling screams as he gets cut down by a machine gun nest right next to you, and it makes you feel like you're a cog in the meat grinder. And the vehicles sound pretty damn good too, from the tanks rolling around, to the machine guns going off, to the choppers blowing up rooftops. It all works together to put you right in the middle of the war zone. Okay, so let's move on to the bad aspects of the sound. The music in this game was very forgettable. It's just typical new age war style music, nothing special. Like I said earlier, I think of Hell Let Loose, and I immediately start singing, over there, send the word over there, because they have a great musical soundtrack, man. It matters. I don't really have anything else bad to say about the sound though. It was mostly solid here in Battlefield 6. So to summarize the sound, like I said, besides the music in this game, the sound was very well done. All of the sounds of the war zone are there, from the gunshots, the explosions, to the soldier chatter, to the tanks rolling in. It all comes together and gives you that classic Battlefield experience. Alright, so moving on to my final thoughts. Being a longtime Battlefield player up until 2042, I was really hoping they'd come back strong and go back to their roots, but that's just not the case here. Because if anything, they doubled down on many of the things that made 2042 a bad game, including terrible destructible environments, an atrocious time to kill, and god-awful hit registry. These three things alone ruin the entire experience, not to mention the other problems it has. And these are all compounded by the ridiculously slow progression system in place. It takes way too long to unlock your attachments and skins in this game, forcing you to be cannon fodder for hours to players that have better guns than you. And because of this, people just go into bot lobby matches and sit there killing bots to hurry up and get their attachments, defeating the purpose of the progression system. Just get rid of it already. I'm sick of seeing an entire squad on my team sitting in the HQ spawn, repairing and destroying a vehicle over and over again to get XP. That's why we're losing, because they're not on point. They're repairing the vehicle, our own vehicle, in the fucking spawn. And as far as fun factor goes, most of my playtime in this game was spent not having fun. Whether that be due to shoot first, die first, or being in bad squads where nobody revives you, or not being able to destroy objects correctly, there are very few moments in between where you get a glimpse of the fun you could be having if you just went and played Squad or Hell Let Loose. I mean, it's really that simple. Battlefield 6 just shows that it can't hang with the big boys anymore. It's been dethroned in the casual milsim department by Squad and Hell Let Loose, and has therefore been officially relegated to Call of Duty tier slop for the most casual of casuals. In the garbage can you go. So should you buy this game? No! No! Do not buy this game, at least at full price. Don't buy this game until it's on sale for like $10 and they've dropped a few new maps and patches maybe. It just doesn't deliver anything new that you can't experience right now in any of the older Battlefield games. Hell, you can still go play Battlefield 4 or 5 and they're better than Battlefield 6. Actually, matter of fact, I want to go on a little rant here at the end of the video about Battlefield 5. Battlefield 5 was full of woke garbage, particularly all the female soldiers running around screaming in the World War II game. But nevertheless, I actually thought they were onto something really good in Battlefield 5. They had just introduced those new cover mechanics where you could essentially build fortifications and machine gun nests at different control points, and they could be destroyed, but you could rebuild them again, and I loved that mechanic. It added so much to a battle when you could build up sandbags and machine gun nests and hold off charging squads on a point. I was really excited to see where they took that mechanic into the next Battlefield game, but unfortunately, they completely scrapped it going into Battlefield 2042 and just started over. And this is what we got. Now Battlefield 6 comes out, and it's just essentially the same game as Battlefield 2042. And that's really unfortunate that they abandoned all of those features from Battlefield 5, but it was damn fun while it lasted. And I also thought the gunplay and the movements were very smooth in Battlefield 5, as well as the maps being very large. We just didn't know what we had until it was gone, boys. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down below. This has been way longer than I expected it to be when I first started typing up my notes. Holy crap. So I'm just gonna go ahead and end this and get out of here. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.